Ross, you're in the circle, okay. Ready? Set. Kalehua Tolentino will get us started.
Mahalo, Al. If we can all hold hands, please, as best as we can. I'm going to do an oli called Anuai that was written by one of our greatest educators called Edith Mackenzie. And she wrote this oli for anyone, for everyone. But more importantly, she wrote it so that we all know that we come together in love. That's what's bringing us here today. So if we can all Hanumai, Hanuaku, Hanumai, Hanuaku, Hanumai, Hanuaku. Anoa I ko kakoma mea ho'oki pala ea mena mea hano ke ho'ohiva ia nei makola ea e hui pu I ka vai o ko kako mau kupuna ea iahi I pu'u ia kako I ka lokahi Kanalu I mia kako mai ka hiki mai la ea Me ke aloha no kako apau Me ke aloha no kako apau
Mahalo, Kalehua. On behalf of the Queens Health Systems and Pacific Health Ministry, I want to welcome you to our 30th annual service honoring the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm going to introduce myself, and you're probably thinking, why is he introducing himself? I'm Reverend Al Miles. For the last 33 years, I've served with Pacific Health Ministry at Queens Downtown. The reason I'm introducing myself is because we're being live streamed. So we've made the big time now. Thank you, Erickson and Gary, for doing that. On a more serious note, I've told the story many times before, but it was 30 years ago that a public relations specialist by the name of Carol Stevens and I went to then President and CEO of the Queens, I don't think it was Health System, the Queens Medical Center at that time, Mr. Art Ushijima, with a request to have a plaque placed in honor of the work of Dr. King. And Mr. Ushijima went several steps ahead of us by saying, how about a tree and a plaque? That is the tree, the bottle brush tree from Australia, and there's a plaque. Please take a look at that at the end of our ceremony. I just heard that Dr. King would have been 97 had he lived, so he could still be alive. I didn't realize that until I read something this morning. But we want to thank you for joining us, and at this time I'm going to ask my colleague, the Reverend Dr. Thomas Hong, to come and provide an invocation. Thomas.
Well, at this time, please join me for a word of prayer, e pole kako. God of love, God of light, as we gather together in commemoration of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., may we recognize this time together as sacred and holy. As we do with the Queen and the King, may we embody, may we incarnate the spirit of the Reverend Dr. King, who believed in lifting up all those who are suffering under systemic racism, injustice, and evil. In every situation, in every circumstance, may we seek to do what is right. May we seek to do what is just. And may we care when no one else will. Blessings to us all and to all whom we serve. Amen.
Mahalo, Chaplain. Since we started our King ceremony, we have had the support of the upper echelon of leadership here at the health systems. That continues to this day. It is my honor and privilege to call to the microphone Mr. Jason Chang to come and say a few words, our President and Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Health Systems. Jason.
Thank you all for coming out this morning. And want to thank Reverend Miles for keeping this alive for the 30 years. And it's so important. And today's just an opportunity for us to reflect on Martin Luther King and what he stood for, human rights, and protecting the rights of all human beings, regardless where they were, where they're from. And in many ways, it aligns with our founders, who did the same thing and for the health of all of our people here in Hawaii. And they did the same thing for education in Hawaii as well. And so I think about the things that our founders went through in their lives to ensure that everybody had the right to have health care, and equitable health care, that everyone, no matter where you were and where you were from, would be the same for everybody. And as we translate that into education, the same thing, that women have the same rights as men to be educated in schools. And so our kuleana, our responsibility today, is to make sure that we uphold that mission. And everything that's going on in the world around us exemplifies why it's so important that we fight for the healthcare rights of everybody today. And so as we think about Martin Luther King Day, and we celebrate the many achievements that he's had over his life and the learnings that we'll continue to carry forward that ensure that we stand for the right things, we stand for our patients, we stand for the people of Hawaii, we stand for each other collectively. I want to thank you all for just spending a few moments here to recognize the importance of today. So mahalo.
Thank you, Jason. Since we started the ceremony 3 decades ago, people who have played a major role have been the Pacific Health Ministry chaplain, interns, and residents. We've always invited them to come and take part, never put pressure on them, he said, and they've always come and volunteered to come and share what's on their hearts from their own cultures. We've had music and we've had poetry. One time we had creative dancing from the 60s. One of our chaplains, I won't try to do it, but she could do it, and it was beautiful. Today we have Chaplain Yuki to come and share what's on her heart, one of our chaplain residents serving here at Queens, Manamana. Chaplain Yuki.
Thank you. The core message of the following chant, Emmejuk Kanonryo, is the interconnectedness and embodiment of boundless compassion, which resonates strongly with Dr. King's life and his work. During my university time, I attended Dr. King's wife, Coretta Scott King's speech in Arena. I remember her passion for the civil rights movement, nonviolent change, and carrying on Dr. King's legacy. I met her in a late stage of her life, and her voice was gasping the air during the speech. Yet, she was so determined and dedicated, and her message of nonviolent social change was strong and sincere. Emmejuk Kanonryo 完全音南仏陽仏陰陽仏演武法総演上略画上長年完全音忘年完全音年々重心期年々不利心 Adam world birth and death stands not apart. There is no self or other, black or white. All things are peaceful, joyous, and interconnected, sewn together gently and intimately in the endless love of suchness. Not seeing the Dharma world, living beings appear as separate selves and suffer in a stream of dreams. Out of great compassion, awakened ones appear within duality to help all beings awaken and return to the peaceful vision of mutual interdependence. Today, honoring the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., we gratefully remember, celebrate, and dedicate all merit to the dreams and goals of his life, and the lives of all his sisters and brothers, who stood upright, joined hands, and walked together through birth and death, to demonstrate and encourage the spirit of nonviolence and reverence and justice for all life. May the spirit of selflessness, devotion to all beings be realized everywhere and in everywhere.
Mahalo, Chaplain Yuki. Every year that I say a few words, I start off by asking how many of us in our assembly, in our circle, were alive as of April 4th, 1968. You can raise your hands high, Preston. Okay, there are a few of us. I haven't raised my hand. I was born just after that. No, actually, I was 16 years old. But the reason I ask that is because that means that a lot of the people who are in our circle were not yet born, and yet you're here. The legacy continues. It will continue far after we die, and you will still be here to fight for justice and acceptance and respect and love for all humankind. I tell the story all the time, but it's an important story to be told. Once we started the King ceremony, we were determined never to stop through rain, through bright sunshine, through COVID, where I stood here alone with Marcus Rimmel taping me and was played at YouTube later. But we will continue till there is peace and justice. I'm not going to shock anybody to say we have a mess on our hands right now in the world and in our own country. People are being judged for who they are and the color of their skin and their belief systems. This has to stop. And it's not just about adults. Get today's print connection when you can get it. I think it's called The Connection now, Jason, is it right? Queen's Connection. You can tell I'm an old timer, print connection. But anyway, Queen's Connection. It tells the story of a 6-year-old boy by the name of Aiden Marita. He attended this ceremony in 2002 at age 6. There's a photo of him in a deep squat with a book that's almost as big as his torso. It was a book about Dr. King. So as Jason and I were getting together for this particular Martin Luther King ceremony, I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to track down this young man and see what he's doing now? And fortunately, we had connections because Aiden's parents, Alan Marita and Mimi Donley, said, we can get a hold of him. And it worked. But please read his words, because they're the words of someone who really is concerned about our world and the world that he's in at his 30 years now. He's now 30 years old. And there are a number of young people who say, let's continue this on. And I say, you continue it on. After I retire, after I die, we have to continue this on, because we need peace and justice and acceptance of all people. We cannot qualify people on what we want, but everyone needs to be accepted. So thank you again for joining us at this critical time in the United States and across the globe. There are other chaplains who have volunteered to share. At the end of every ceremony, you know, we always sing, "Let there be peace on earth." And a true confession here, I've been married for 52 years, and the time I get in trouble the most is when I've called my wife up here and say, can you sing "Let There Be Peace on Earth"? She has a beautiful voice, but she's also not, she doesn't like the microphones. So this year it won't be Kathy Miles who will lead us, although I do want her to sing like the rest of the people, but the chaplains who have volunteered to come sing. Chaplain Salome, Chaplain Rick, Chaplain Leanne, you're from West. She's serving PHM at West. So they're going to come and lead us and let there be peace on earth. And who's going to introduce this song? Chaplains, where are you? Come forward. Is Rick here? Okay. There you are.
It's great to see so many of you here. Each of you has the words that were handed out. Please join us in this magnificent song that had a huge meaning then when it was written, but it has just as much meaning or more so today. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, children all are we. Let us walk together in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment
Thank you, chaplains. We will sing Let There Be Peace on Earth until there's peace on earth, so we'll be singing it for quite some time. At this time, as we conclude today's ceremony, I want to invite my colleague, Chaplain Thomas is my colleague over at West, Chaplain Kudo Lee is my colleague, my Pacific Health Ministry colleague here at Queens Manamana. Reverend Kudo, please come and bless us out at this time, as we say in my church. Thank you.
Blessed are you who choose love over fear, justice over silence, and hope over despair. Blessed are you who walk the path of peace and honor the dignity of every person with courage and grace. Thank you so much for being here today. Please go in peace.
Thank you, Reverend Kudo. Before we go in peace, please, Jason, I know you always want to take a picture. Did I lose Jason? Oh, there he is right there. Where do you want us to line up at? Okay, right here. And once again, I want to thank